A beautiful look at Lake Superior here in Duluth. The bottom of the third, Huskies lead it 2-0. And Shepard, 41 pitches through 2 innings. He's only allowed 2 hits, but the pitch count has really gotten up there.
Yeah, the 3 walks definitely hasn't helped so far, but even after the leadoff single and walk, he got a couple flyouts. Just as the stolen bases didn't exactly help his cause. Had the back-to-back sac flies and then the strikeout. Again, in the first inning, he got the first 2 outs, then it was kind of a 2-out rally that the Huskies weren't able to score on. In the second, it was all done early damage, and so now Shepard just has to try to settle down, get in this third inning of work, and find his groove. He would love to have an efficient inning here after, again, you mentioned it, high pitch count in the first 2.
Brandon Compton to lead it off, and he doubled his first time up. Ball that he ripped off the wall in left.
And again, to see that opposite field power from him is definitely a positive for the Huskies' cause. After a lot of his home runs have been to that pull side this season, and so see that power. I mean, it bounced all the way off the wall in a very deep ballpark, and so it's impressive stuff from Brandon Compton.
Yeah, and we see defenses shift quite a bit against Compton, and Thunder Bay is doing that right now. Kuriger is in the outfield and right at second base. And when Compton can show he can drive it into left, that will really help as he hits that one into right center, and that's a base hit. So 2 hits for Compton in 2 at-bats.
Yeah, that's a really nice start for Brandon Compton, who again has been in, a mini slump as of late, 2 for 10 in his last 3 games. Had the lots of walks yesterday, but he's seeing the ball well today. Right-handed pitcher in Shepard, definitely helping that cause as well.
And showing off his ability to hit to all fields. The double to left and then the single to right center. That will help him get a normal defensive alignment as I was finishing with, and that really helps a hitter. When you can show you can do that, you're not going to have to deal with that shift as often.
We saw it with Callan Halverson too early in the season where teams were playing him kind of weird, and so he sprayed the ball all over in the outfield and hit it to left center, right center, and just keeps the defense honest when you can show that he can go to multiple parts of the field. That's a nice luxury to have as a hitter, and it just makes you even more lethal at the plate.
2-0 is outside for ball 3, and Brylan West, by now, he's just not going to offer anything out of the zone.
Yeah, he's a tough guy to pitch to because if you give him the correct pitch, he's going to shoot one into the gap. If you pitch away and try to get him to chase, he's not going to do that, and so it's just a really tough guy, and he definitely was not going to swing at that one. Took a little step back before the ball was delivered.
Yeah, not even in the box for that one. And you see why with his discipline and great eye, he is on base nearly 1 out of 2 times. He takes inside ball 4. 2 walks to begin his evening.
So now again, the 2 leadoff runners on for Carson Shepard. He's got to try to find a way to battle out of this. Because on the other end, David Thomas has been off to a hot start, and now Callan Halverson, who's also walked already. You look at him in the slugging percentage, right up there with Michael Hallquist in the top in the Great Plains. He's a guy that very good power hitter as well.
That's hit in the air to left. Kehoe waits for it, and he's got it for out number 1. That was a very high fly ball.
Yeah, it was, and we saw it play some issues yesterday with the wind. Obviously, the wind not playing nearly as much of a factor as it was yesterday with the 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts that we were dealing with here at Wade Stadium. Wind still gusting decently today. Right now, 9 miles per hour of the northwest. Wind gusts will be up to about 20 miles per hour throughout the game, but Definitely not the effect that it had yesterday, because we saw fielders have to kind of move and shake around and move at the last second because it was just whipping the ball around in the air.
How about John Willis, the meteorologist, folks?
Oh,
that
yeah.
was really impressive, giving us the full diagnosis of the wind. Man.
I've been able to show off a couple of my non-baseball skills these last couple days. Did a little biology with the mud puppies, and now giving you a look at the weather. I'm just showing it all off.
Yeah, I mean, let's get him in front of a green screen and show off the forecast for the next day. Goodness gracious. 2-0 the count to Jared Medham. He takes high ball 3, so the command has been a real problem for Shepherd.
Yeah, it has, and again, it's not something we anticipated coming into this contest. And, you know, early in the game, it was more just missing a little bit on the outside on some of those corners, but some of these last pitches to Medham have just not been close.
That's low ball 4. That was a close pitch, but it loads up the bases. A couple of walks in the inning for Duluth, and they're just being really disciplined. They're forcing Shepherd to come in on every occasion.
And it's what they do to every pitcher they see, and that's why it's sometimes so frustrating to play the Huskies, because you really don't know what you can do, because if you throw one over the plate, they're going to hit it for extra bases. But if you try to get them to chase, they're not going to swing. And that's why so many teams have had issues with the Huskies, and there's really only 2 pitchers right now in the league that have shut down this lineup at all.
Kason Wells up at the plate with the bases juiced. He singled his first time and came around to score on the sacrifice fly, one of 2 sacrifice flies in the second inning. That's how the Huskies have gotten their runs. He hits that one into right center. That's down for a hit, and that will roll towards the wall. 1 run in to score, 2 runs in to score. Here comes Medham around third, and he will score. Wells digs into third with a triple, and it's 5-0 Duluth. Kason Wells clears the bases.
Yeah, Kason Wells just continues to swing an incredible bat as of late. He has been one of the best Huskies hitters as of late as anybody, obviously, in what's been a very talented lineup this season. And just to have him, again, he's a bottom of the lineup guy, but not nearly an average bottom of the lineup guy, and he adds to his RBI total. You see the batting average, Wells right up there with the team leaders and what is the best hitting team in the Northwoods League.
Saw Kason Wells show off the dance moves over there at third, too. He is feeling really good right now. Everything running on all cylinders for Kason Wells at the plate. And it's hard to believe, John, he was hitting in the 100s earlier this season.
Yeah, he's just really found another gear. We saw him, again, he was a guy that started to find his success with walks, and now the hits are starting to come, and he is going to continue to be a huge part.
Leroy lines it over Engskov for a base hit. Wells will score, and with the infield in, Tyler Leroy lines it over the shortstop, and a much-needed hit for him.
Yeah, that's big for his confidence. Again, he knows the infield's going to play a little shallow with a runner at third, so just enough power to get over the head of Engskov, and again, that's huge for Leroy. And Huskies have had some good vibes games these last couple, with 2 wins, dominating against Minnesota, and a lot of smiles here early.
Bunted by Velasquez, fielded by Sutton. The throw to second is in time. That's an impressive play behind the plate to be aggressive and get the lead runner.
Yeah, Velasquez has done that a lot recently, where he's done that surprise bunt, but that one just a little too shallow. Sutton was able to get right on it and get the lead runner. It's always important, and now they find 2 outs. They keep a runner just at first. But we've seen Velasquez do that a lot. He's bunted on first pitches. He's reached on a lot of those as well. And now sets up the top of the lineup.
It's 2 in the second and 4 in the third for Duluth. Josh Duarte looking to add to it. Batting average 400 coming in to play today, leading the league. That's hit down the left field line. Is that going to stay fair? It is, and it'll bounce off the wall and stay in play. Velasquez will dig into third, and it's second and third with 2 out. Josh Duarte with his first hit of the day.
Well, he keeps it going. Velasquez was kind of holding up a little bit too, which was interesting with 2 outs. And Kehoe, I think he thought that was going to go foul. And so he kind of hesitated on it a little bit. But again, if Velasquez had been fully digging around the base paths, he likely would have been able to score.
Yeah, may have not been sure there were 2 outs, and I think Kehoe may have also thought even if it was going to land fair, it was going to bounce into that Thunder Bay bullpen, and it just did not. A little bit of a weird play there as Coop rolls it foul.
And Coop, the 9th player to come up to the plate here in the third. This is a Huskies team that batted around twice yesterday against Minnesota, and one of the best offenses in the league. And Coop obviously getting a new bat. We've seen a lot of broken bats in these last couple weeks. It's been interesting.
Yeah, and a few in this first 3 innings as well. That's not something you see too often. Of course, East College players play with metal bats during their spring, but they come up to the Northwoods League and play with wooden bats. It's certainly an adjustment. We've talked to a lot of guys about that, how it takes time to acclimate to them, and it makes a season in the Northwoods with a lot of success all the more impressive.
Yeah, it does. And again, it's just a really good experience for these guys who obviously want to continue to have a career in baseball moving forward, getting experience with the wood bats in a full season where you're playing almost every day. It's such a cool thing to have for these players, and obviously the
Coop through the left side for a base hit. Velasquez will score. Duarte will be held up at third. It's another RBI hit, the 5th run to come into the inning, and it's 7-0.
Yeah, right now Shepard is just getting hit around here a little bit in the third. Right now just can't find an answer to find that last out. You wonder after they were able to get that lead runner to second as you look at the RBIs from Coop. That's another one for him this season. He's now reached the 20 mark, which would be, up there in the top 2 or 3 of any other team. But with how many RBIs everybody else has, it's just so competitive.
There goes Coop on the pitch inside. A little bit of a delayed steal there, and they stay out of the force out. Runners at second and third.
Surprised that Sutton came up throwing with Duarte at third, but it was hard enough of a throw and accurate enough that Duarte was able to stay at bay.
1-0, Compton takes high, and of course, Brandon Compton started this inning with a single. He's hitting for the 2nd time in the third. And the home run total for Compton, 6. He's second to Mike Hallquist. On most teams, Compton would be leading the way, but Mike Hallquist leads the league in home runs. And what's been impressive for Compton the last couple days is his ability to get on base in other ways, via a walk and a double and a single today.
Yeah, showing that versatility, definitely good for him. And not just power swinging all the time. He's able to get on base, and so impressive for a guy like him as he's on with yet another one. And right now this Thunder Bay team just trying to stop the bleeding here in the third.
Yeah, this 2-out magic from the Huskies. Velasquez hit into a fielder's choice, and that was the 2nd out with Leroy being thrown out at second. It's now been 3 consecutive hitters for Duluth to reach, and that loads up the bases again, and looks like this might be the time when Shepard's coming out of this game.
Yeah, Coach Kelly pointing over to the bullpen. And he had a decent start to the game, was able to get out of a tough spot in the first. Was able to, after the leadoff single and walk, get a couple flyouts and a strikeout. And again, now just unfortunate as we look at the incoming pitcher for Thunder Bay, and he's been off to a really nice start with Will Droll and one of the best ERAs on the team. They're going to ask him to eat up some innings here.
Will Droll, the local kid out of Thunder Bay, Ontario, the University of Pittsburgh product, and Droll has done a really good job with the Border Cats so far this season.
Yeah, all of his runs came in his first appearance June 3rd against Waterloo. Since then, he has been on point, has only given up 4 hits in his last 7 2/3 that he's pitched. He has struck out 14 in that time, only walked 2. He has really been on point as of late. And he's a guy that they're going to ask to come in and eat up some innings. He's thrown, you know, 1 appearance of 4 2/3, and that actually came against the Huskies in that 8-6 win back on June 8th, where the Huskies blew a 6-0 first inning lead. So he's going to be asked to do something similar here today. Works a lot of fastball, curveball, has a slider change. That fastball will sit mid-80s. Curveball he uses 30% of the time compared to the fastball, which is 57%. Slider sits at about 78. It doesn't use the changeup a whole lot, but has been mixing it in a little bit more.
And he only made 1 appearance at Pittsburgh this past year, John, with a walk and a hit. So another guy who's proving that he deserves more opportunities and has done a good job. And this is certainly a tough spot for him, with the Huskies having dominated offensively in the early going against the starter Carson Shepard. Just trying to limit the damage and keep Thunder Bay at least somewhat within striking distance.
The good thing is for him, he comes in with 2 outs. And so he only has to find that final one to end off this inning. And so then hopefully he starts with a clean slate if you're Thunder Bay, and then can eat up some innings after Shepard, who we expected to build off of his really good first start. He got the win in that walk-off where he pitched only a third of an inning 2 nights ago. But the Huskies were just able to jump on him, especially here in the third.
West, the 11th batter in the inning, fouls it back. What seems like ages ago in this third inning, he walked. And he's walked twice in this game to boost that already impressive on-base percentage.
We're seeing that fastball work pretty well in these first couple pitches to West. He's going to try to paint those corners, that time going top and outside. Now just 1 strike away from getting out of it.
0-2 to West is high. That fastball 83 and 84, and then just dropped in a breaking ball at 75. That's not a high-powered fastball, so Droll just has to work with location quite a bit. West just gets a piece.
Yeah, and that's what makes him so good. You know, velocity is great to have, but when you can't locate it, it can really hurt. But Droll, the kind of guy who can place that fastball in all parts of the strike zone, goes back-to-back breaking ball.
Strike 3 called, so Droll comes in and gets the out with the bases loaded. Huskies get 5 runs. They lead at 7-0. We'll head to the top half of the 4th. You're watching the Northwoods League Baseball Network.